Yes, Shema, everybody in podcast land and also on YouTube. I'm James.
I'm David.
I'm Riley.
And this is the Carpool Critics Movie Podcast, where today, I swear to God, we're not going to do that voice the whole time. I saw the best tweet ever. It was like...
It's going to be hard.
2020's final death throw. Everyone's doing the Borat voice again. No! But
And
yeah,
then it was over.
Today we're checking out a subsequent movie film, the sequel to Borat coming, I think the first one was 2006, so this is like... whatever that is, years later, 14 years later, crazy.
Very nice.
That's it.
We can do
each
his
get one.
catchphrases as long as we don't do the accent.
That's true. My wife.
My wife.
I like.
High five.
Very nice.
You've got a big crumb. David, what do you give this movie out of 10?
By choosing a side, making a point, and still taking time to praise the kind-hearted heroes, Borat 2 is a better and more important movie than the first, albeit less shocking. Although that's probably because I've been dead on the inside since November 8th, 2016 at around 8-ish p.m. Pacific time. 7.9.
It was later at night than that, but all right.
Was it?
7.9. 7.9.
7.9. Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Wow.
Amazing.
I never know how these wows mean. Give me yours.
Wow.
What are you saying?
Oh, wow. How brave of you.
Wow, wow, wee, wow.
Also, spoiler alert. We didn't do the spoiler alert. Here's my slogan. This movie's got everything you'd expect or want from a Borat film with a surprisingly nice family story on the side. 7 out of 10. Nothing crazy there.
Wow,
Just
wow,
a
wee,
solid
wow.
7.
I
Nope.
have a chair.
Solid
I didn't
7.
put a wow. I said we weren't doing the voice.
As long as it's not the voice.
As long as it's not the voice, it's all good. The show, the voice.
King of the Castle, I have a chair. Borat 2 brings us everything we loved from the original while updating the format for this crazy new world called 2020. Alongside Terminator 2, The Road Warrior, and Aliens, subsequent movie film takes its place decidedly as one of the best sequels ever. Maximum pubis out of 10, which is actually an 8.5.
Wow.
8.5.
I loved this movie. I thought it was
great.
the perfect sequel.
See, I didn't know how much to love it. Because I was like, that's good, I guess.
Use your whole heart, Riley. Love with your whole heart.
It's just confusing, that's all.
I think it's hard to do like a parody film in 2020 because like the world is a parody of itself.
Yeah.
And like every parody thing, like SNL, everyone hates SNL because it's not funny to make fun of what's going on because like it's so fucked that it's hard to do a parody film. And this one works where it's still funny, it got good laughs, but it has a point, which I
Right.
really liked. And I like you said, it has the family dynamic, which really elevates it above the first for me.
For sure.
The first one, he's just thirsty for Pamela Anderson. Like, that's not that funny. It's like, it's
Yeah.
funny, but it's eh. But
I
here it's
think-
like he's got to learn to respect women.
I think it's true. I think it's interesting how the character and the message of the film sort of matured in how long was it?
14 years.
14 years since the first one came out. I think that it was smart of them to wait that long.
100%.
I mean, they probably could have done it a bit sooner, but I think there being this big gap between Borat 1 and 2, I think prepared the world for more Borat, you know? Like when it came back, I wasn't like, oh man, Borat's coming back, amazing. I was like, really? They're doing a sequel?
Exactly. That's why I like it so much.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those things when you see, like, let's say you loved, I don't know, Guns N' Roses growing up or something like that. And then in like 2015, they're touring again.
Right.
You're not like, yeah.
Right.
You're like, no.
Yeah,
Or like,
and all of the
ah.
10-year later, 20-year later sequels always
They
suck.
always
Yeah.
suck. Like Dumb and Dumber.
Zoolander 2.
It always sucks.
Yeah.
The new album from your favorite band of 20 years ago always sucks. And so that's where I'm at. Even like Blade Runner 2049, I was like, oh, Harrison Ford's in it. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Of course, I had been burned by The Force Awakens.
Right.
But when I saw that this was being made, I had that kind of baggage with me. And
Totally.
it totally was unfounded. And that's why I like it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like it definitely picks up. Like it definitely starts kind of slow, I feel like, where it needs to kind of convince you that it deserves to exist a bit. Because I'm like skeptical going in, as we say.
I disagree with that, and I want to get into that right after this message from our sponsor, PIA. Private Internet Access VPN helps you hide your true IP address so you can bypass geo restrictions and censorship in shitty countries like Uzbekistan. You can connect up to 10 devices at once, and it includes an internet kill switch if your VPN gets disconnected involuntarily. PIA is available for Windows, Mac, Android, iOS, and even has a Chrome extension. So check it out at lmg.gg/carpoolcritics. Why are you guys laughing?
Could you tell that I didn't have anything?
Oh yeah, you're
For
supposed
the
to.
kill switch, I didn't have anything. I was like, what am I going to do? I didn't know. I was going to, I don't know, nothing. Continue.
Carpool Critics is also sponsored by Vessi Footwear, famous for making shoes that are light, comfortable, and most importantly, waterproof. They're made from a dual climate knit material, and they're 100% vegan, which can't hurt anybody. Literally. They've just announced their new weekend shoe, which some of us are wearing right now, baby. Be classy. Head to vessi.com/carpoolcritics to reserve your own, or check out their existing lineup and get $25 off using our code. Yes.
They're my only shoes.
The best code in the world. Yeah.
What's the code?
It's vessi.com/carpoolcritics. We said
Okay,
that.
you already said it. Good. Thank goodness.
Use it. It's a code. It's a URL. I don't know.
Well, one of the things we like in this movie is that it has a plot. And what is that plot, Riley?
I'll tell you. After being imprisoned in a gulag for embarrassing Kazakhstan in the last movie, journalist Borat Sagdiev is released and given a mission by the country's premier to redeem the nation by delivering Kazakhstan's Minister of Culture, Johnny the Monkey, a literal monkey, to Vice President Mike Pence. After circling the world in a cargo ship, Borat arrives in Texas. But when he opens Johnny's cargo crate, Borat finds out his newly discovered 15-year-old daughter, Tutor, stowed away and ate Johnny during the trip. Afraid that he will be killed for this, Borat decides to give Tutor to Mike Pence. Afraid that he will be killed for this, Borat decides to give Tutor to Mike Pence instead of the monkey. Borat disguises himself as Trump and offers her to Pence at a Republican event, but is thrown out. The Kazakh premier tells Borat to return home for execution, but Borat suggests giving Tutor to Trump's attorney, Rudy Giuliani. Tutor learns from American women that she is being oppressed by her father and runs away. Depressed, Borat quarantines with two men in the wilderness during the COVID-19 pandemic, eventually finding out that Tutor has become a successful reporter and will be covering a March for Our Rights rally in Washington. He finds Tutor at the rally and tells her he will be killed if he does not give her to Giuliani. Tutor arranges an interview with Giuliani, but Borat intervenes after he realizes he does love his daughter, and there's the family stuff, everybody. The two return to Kazakhstan, where it's revealed Borat caused the COVID-19 pandemic. Who cares? Then the father and daughter blackmail the premier into transforming Kazakhstan into a feminist nation. The end. They're both great reporters in the end. Look, this was a bit of a stumble to the finish synopsis, okay, guys?
I love it.
James was on my back about it.
No, I love it. I love Tutor. She might be the
She's
best thing in
What a
this movie.
slam dunk.
Oh,
Wow.
man.
Like, okay, who is she? She's such a good actor and comedian.
She's
Maria
a Romanian.
Bakalova.
Yeah, she's a Romanian film graduate. Bulgarian. She's a Bulgarian film graduate, and she's done a couple things like an Italian TV show and stuff, but nothing big.
Right.
But they auditioned hundreds of women
Yes.
to play this role, and they fucking nailed it.
That's amazing.
She must be a stand-up comedian.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I didn't see anything about that.
But they, as you say, they auditioned hundreds of women, and one of the tests was for them to stay for 2 hours in a room with strangers and convince them that they are those characters and they are father and daughter. And so like a bunch of actresses went through this process, and she
Amazing.
was like, she came out of the what do you call that?
I wonder when that was.
What do you call that?
Gauntlet?
Gauntlet.
You're just moving your hands like hitting.
that was like the drum circle.
That's a gauntlet right
When do you
there.
think that was? Because that obviously is a long casting process. I'm sure they only did that at the end for like, I don't know, maybe 5 different people or something like that. But that is time consuming. And I wonder if they knew, like if she knew she was cast when she was in these other movies.
Yeah.
Because I think she was in like some 2019 like Bulgarian films.
Oh, yeah.
Like pretty recently. I wonder if she was already Tutar at that time.
So wait, does she have an accent?
Probably. And
That's wild.
but it just
She was
works.
so good.
She's on the ball. Like, she's as quick as Sacha Baron Cohen, and he's a brilliant improviser. Like, he's going places. He like is so actively listening and totally directing every conversation.
Yeah.
But she is just like toe and toe with
She
him.
just completely matches him. Yeah.
it's
And I
so
think
good.
it would have been so easy for them to screw this up
Uh-huh.
and just be like, oh, okay, it's the sequel. We got to have some stupid twist on it. It's like, oh, it's his daughter with him now. Oh, it's Borat traveling America, looking at it, finding all the racists and stuff with his daughter. Oh, how wonky, how
Yeah.
silly and zany. But it just works so
No,
well.
because it works because it's not a gimmick. It's actually necessary. All these changes were necessary,
She's
and that's
crucial
why
to the plot.
That's why and it's not even that. I think the execution of this film is so masterful because how the world has changed since the first one. The first
Okay.
one was all hidden camera stuff, right? And he's just run the camera when we're on the subway and just do some crazy stuff and look at the reactions of the people around you. Well, that stopped working because people had cell phones, and people were just doing pranks all the time for YouTube. And people started to realize that like you could be on candid camera at any time. And you can actually see this in cinema, this kind of expiring with the movie Bad Grandpa. It was like that Johnny Knoxville one where he dresses up as an old man.
Yeah.
Right, because that's a bunch of hidden camera stuff, right?
Yeah, and in that movie, almost in every scene, the people, when the pranks are happening to them, the people start like looking around the room. You can tell they're like, I'm being punked. What is this?
Honestly.
I just said the verb punked. That show, like, it's so worn out.
Yeah.
So therefore, I was wondering, like, how the hell are they going to do this movie where, as addressed in like the first 5 minutes of this, he is recognizable. He can't be Borat.
Right.
He has to dress up and disguise himself.
Yeah.
But the reason it's such a slam dunk to have his daughter is because they cast an unknown.
Absolutely
They didn't have to dress her up.
Right.
So they can always say, like, I'm famous, I need to dress myself up so no one recognizes me, while she gets to just be herself. And that's necessary, because if they had to dress her up, then how can they do things like a makeover and try this dress on and stuff? They can't. She needs to be her authentic, like, undisguised self.
She actually lives in a barn
In a cage.
Yeah, with livestock.
In a cage that's worse than her neighbors.
I love
But anyway, they got all that together so well, and plus they made like a new format for this one, where it's not just hidden camera stuff all the time. There is like this kind of manufactured narrative. There are scenes that are just for them, that are bullcrap, but they fit and dovetail so nicely into the rest of the movie.
Totally.
They do.
Like when they're punking Rudy Giuliani, there's a scene that's like in a side room between Borat and Tutor, and it's made to look like they're just whispering to each other when Giuliani is like 10 feet away. But it's probably not. They probably did that like hours later or days later.
I was wondering about
they
that.
They just still use crappy lighting and film grain, so you think it's at the same time.
Right.
I would love to hear more about how this movie got made. As soon as I finished this movie, I started researching, trying to get all the like, how did they write this movie? Because the first one was nominated for a Best Adapted Screenplay Oscar.
Was it?
Yeah, because it's brilliant, and like so much of it is reactionary to what's going on. It's like half documenting these crazy things, but half creating a narrative to put it all together. And the first one does feel just like a series of skits loosely tied together.
I don't even remember. Did you watch the first? Did you guys rewatch the first one?
I didn't have to, man. I watched it like a million times as a kid.
I don't remember.
I loved it.
I mean, I think I saw it maybe twice. I don't remember what the plot is.
He gets to America to make a movie about America, and he falls in love with Pamela Anderson. And like the kind of movie is him going to California to marry Pamela Anderson. He finds out she's not a virgin, gets upset, but then in the end, like grows a little bit enough to like accept her that she's not a virgin, and then tries to kidnap her and make her his wife, and then fails.
But he shirks his duties about making a tourism film for Kazakhstan. He's traveling with his producer friend Azamat, and he has to convince them to make a new movie about Pamela Anderson.
Yeah. It's
Pamela.
I wonder why they didn't. I mean, wait, is that guy? What happened to his buddy?
Dude, he's a chair.
I know he's a chair. In this one, they reveal that they skinned him and turned him into a chair.
This is why I totally disagree with this movie had a slow
Penis
start.
included.
That joke was like in the first 5 minutes. It was so funny.
No, sorry. I mean, not that the movie itself had a slow start, but I kind of took a little bit to warm up to it.
Okay.
Because I was
That's
kind of
fair.
like expecting it to be bad. And, the first... I think I did laugh in the first, couple minutes there, like almost as soon as the movie when the what are they called? The titles come up that say who's responsible for making the movie, and one of them is what is it? Wait. The Ministry of Disease Control, and the icon is a hand making like the guns sign. So I'm like, their disease control is like shooting people. I laughed right away.
Dude,
that was in the first 30 seconds.
Even I think a couple seconds before that, there's a disclaimer warning that's like, warning, not suitable for children under 3. Me and my wife were laughing so hard we had to pause it. I was losing it. That's so genius.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it starts pretty good right away, and I like that they spend less time in the village, but the time that's spent in the village is so good. Like having the TV playing the Cinderella version of Melania is so funny. And you're like,
that was like some high quality
animation, totally. But I love that it's setting up that it's like, okay, we're going into more political Borat if we're going to be dealing with this. The joke about the neighbor's cage. But then they get out of the town pretty quick.
I don't want to leave the town yet.
Okay,
There's so much to talk about just being in the town. First of all the world building. I love when there's reversals. And so there's 2 good reversals I noticed in this movie, and one of them happens at the beginning, and that is that when he's leaving Cusack. In the first one, everyone's like, our guy, he's going to USNA. That's amazing.
Yeah.
In this one, they're all like, fuck you, boy. Get out of here. I hope all your shit has antlers.
What?
I missed that.
It's in the subtitles. The old lady yells that at him.
I was laughing too hard.
I want to know what the villagers are like, what language they're speaking, because he's speaking a mix of Hebrew and Polish.
Yeah, but that's a Romanian village.
Oh, is it actually?
Yeah.
Oh.
Which is kind of ironic because it's such an anti...
It's a real village?
Yeah. It's not built or anything.
Like they just like went out and...
I'm not sure. But like the movie's so anti-gypsy, and that's like traditionally where gypsies are from, is Romania.
Oh, I see.
And so it's kind of part of the...
That's another great
irony.
reversal that this movie does, and the previous Borat does as well, where it's like Sacha Baron Cohen, the actor who plays Borat, is Jewish, and so that's why he could make all these, anti-Semitic
I didn't even know that.
jokes.
I want to save the Jewish stuff for later because that's so much to dissect.
But even in the town, there's all these callbacks and homages to the first one.
Oh yeah,
where like you see his neighbor, his asshole neighbor, and he's wearing, he doesn't even acknowledge this, but he's wearing like earphones from an Apple product, and he's because remember before he says he's got iPad Mini, everyone knows it's for girls, and then so he sees his asshole neighbor is now wearing his pajamas and again wearing earphones.
Oh man,
Well,
I guess if I rewatched the first one, I would have picked up on. I mean, I still thought it was very funny.
I find there's a lot of jokes that are funny if you can connect it to the first one. Like, it's like, oh, the only people that can be in cars are men and bears. It's like, oh yeah, that's a call to the first one. But you don't...
His son. Remember my son, Huey Lewis? And in the original, he's showing photos of his son, and like the kid's naked, and it's really inappropriate. Like the kid's naked holding his dad. You see him full frontal. You see his dick.
Oh my God.
And then in this one, he's like, oh, my son, Huey Lewis. And he's like, I hate you so much. I renamed myself to Jeffrey Epstein. And it looks like it's the same guy from the photos.
Oh, is it?
Grown up.
Oh,
It looks
wow.
like it.
Funny.
Amazing.
So I just loved all that.
I thought the Jeffrey Epstein thing was funny, but I didn't get I didn't understand the references.
I love the punching up that they do in this movie. Like a lot of the jokes they do, like when they find out that they can't get the daughter to Mike Pence, and they're going through all the Trump cronies.
Oh,
and they're
amazing.
trying to be like, oh, like whatever.
What about him? He's in jail.
What about him? He's in jail. Oh, he's
in
arrested.
jail.
He's whatever.
Yeah.
Ugh.
That seems like a
savage.
scene they might have done last.
Probably. And like that's probably even like the narrative of Giuliani is probably something that they've figured out after they got an interview with him and this damning evidence, because then that's a pretty good climax. They were probably just trying to get as many crazy things as they could and then shaping it into this arc.
That's right. I think they probably tried to get something with Trump but couldn't.
No.
And but what's nice is when they knew that they didn't get anything with him, they give themselves an out of why this movie isn't about going after Trump.
Right.
And that out is, since I shat on his lawn in the first movie, that was just genius.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
I love how another great thing they showed that just like enhances the world building of this stupid world is when they inject him with gypsy tears. And you're like, oh yeah, gypsy tears. That's
That did you guys think anything of that when it happened?
I thought it was just a hilarious callback to how they give him power.
Yeah, me too. But then they have
it's a
this whole
setup.
twist where the gypsy tears is coronavirus, and it turns out that Borat caused coronavirus by getting injected with it, and then he spread it all around the world because he got on this cargo ship and like on his way to Texas went around the entire globe.
That's probably the part of the movie I think works the least well, is that kind of like, oh, he was betrayed by his government to go spread the virus. I found it kind of like silly in the way that doesn't fit into this movie.
It happens at the very end, and so you're kind of like, bah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I agree
that's
with both
totally
of you.
fair.
I could take it or leave it,
Yeah.
but the fact that it was like 2 minutes from the end, I was like, fine.
And
Yeah,
then,
sure, why not?
Totally. And then what they do with it after, like the final scenes are so good that it's fine.
Cinematography wise, that was actually the worst though. It's a totally fabricated scene. It's just a scene with Tudor and Borat and the premier of Kazakhstan, and they're
not the premier. He's the security chief or something, because that's a real person that they're making fun of.
Okay.
Ooh.
That leader, the person that is his point of contact in Kazakhstan, he's a real leader in the person they're making fun of is a real leader in Kazakhstan who became president after the Soviet Union fell, and he was the leader until 2019, and he is like super corrupt. He basically never ran a legit election and embezzled like $1 billion out of like the taxpayer fund for himself. And so he's like very hated, but he had so much power that he put himself into the like chief of security or something, a real position for life in real life. And so they're making fun of him, which I appreciate that he did enough research or has enough knowledge that he's poking fun at like real Kazakhstani leadership.
Maybe that's
interesting.
why then in that hallway scene, it's kind of dimly lit, low key, and there's just no light on that guy's face.
Yeah,
I'm like, why can't I see him? Why did they do this so
like,
crappy?
Yeah, I
look
didn't
like the
like
real
that.
guy.
Well, and it's so clear that
Maybe.
it's supposed to be like cinematic lighting, but it just looks bad. And
It
it's a
does look
shame because like
bad.
it'd be better if it was just mockumentary still and it looked like it was like a real
Well,
documentary
I
style.
think at that point, every time he's in Kazakhstan, you're just like, okay, this isn't a mockumentary. It's
Fair
just,
enough.
It's just whatever.
Yeah.
I think that works. That makes a lot more sense to me now. Why it looks so bad because
Yeah.
it's like, oh, they're trying to obscure his face so that you're kind of like, oh, is
it's
this
the real
guy?
guy.
Yeah.
One thing I really appreciate in this movie is that they don't punch down quite as much. They obviously still do some punching down, but like in the first movie, I always felt kind of icky how much they rip into that town in Romania. And when you find out that they didn't really know what was going on and they were just kind of being taken advantage of. In this movie, I got that feeling a lot less across the board. Like
Is it the
there's
same town?
I believe so.
I don't know. Maybe it's because I was like a teenager, but I never felt that way. I'm not sure if I still do because like the jokes are just so stupid. He's like standing beside an old lady. This my mother. She is 43.
They're funny, but like, yeah.
Why not?
It's hard. If it was about you, it'd be like a little weird. And like, yeah, if some like Chinese filmmaker made a parody movie about Canada and came and like made fun of your whole life, and you're like, you find out later that it was a parody, not a documentary, you'd be like, oh.
Oh, but you think that you are.
Yeah, you're part of a
participating in
documentary.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I think it was kind of icky of them to do it the first time.
I don't find that as much. And I mean, like, clearly this one is more slanted in a direction. Like the first movie is just like, we're making fun of the absolute absurdity of all America. And this one is like, we're going to focus on this small subset. Well, not very small, but this subsection of Americans.
And it's funny because the satire, I don't know if you could call it satire, the comedy directed at, the establishment or whatever is different than the comedy directed at or based around these, marginalized groups, not marginalized groups, but Kazakhstan. It's like he's making fun of Kazakhstan, but at the same time, he's not really making fun of Kazakhstan. He's making fun of the West's perception of Kazakhstan.
Fair enough.
So it's like, we treat women as livestock, and we live in our own shit. Basically, it's like, okay, that's what the average Western person thinks of the third world or whatever.
Totally.
He's not. Yeah, I don't get the
you're
feeling
right.
that he's making.
I think if
fun
you're
of,
like able to remove yourself and see it from that perspective, it's totally cool. But do you guys remember when those like frat boys went to Kazakhstan and wore the Borat like green mankini thing
Yeah,
In real life?
in real life, and they got fined like $40,000 each by Kazakhstan?
good.
Well, Kazakhstan actually did lean into Borat a bit for tourism because it did benefit them a lot. I think they even changed their slogan
They
to
just did that.
to
Very nice. They just did that.
Oh, okay.
But thankfully, Sacha Baron Cohen paid those fines for them.
What?
Because like,
What a beauty.
yeah, it's like they're embracing his movie. They're embracing the stupidity
Screw
that he
those
brought.
guys. I
Really?
wouldn't do that. No way. You're an idiot.
He's doing fine.
Kazakhstan's so dumb. Let's
They're
go
his
make fun
idiots.
of them.
They're his idiots.
Yeah, he
Whatever.
created them.
I think that's dumb.
I think that's the least he can do. So in terms of punching down in this movie, I kind of want to go through and just like laugh at them because they're so stupid.
Punching up, you mean?
No, punching down.
Wait. Laugh at who?
Like the home and garden store owner. When
I
he's
see.
like, oh, how many like girls can you fit in this cage? And he's like, oh, like, I don't know, like, and he's like,
No, he
20?
just says one.
Yeah, but see,
He says one.
this is what I'm confused about.
Okay.
Because are these people victims or not? Like, so from what I understand, the people in those scenarios know that they are told that they're being filmed as part of like a documentary.
Yeah.
False pretenses. They know
Right.
they're being filmed. Obviously, there's lots of cameras in
Yeah.
there, but false pretenses.
But then they end up saying or going along with things that are racist or sexist or whatever. And I'm not sure, I'm not sure how much of that is just like, oh, we just caught them being racist or sexist, or how much of it is, oh, Borat worded the thing in kind of a weird way,
Yeah.
and then we got the
I
response.
think it's a bit of
and-
both.
This is something you need to understand watching this movie, and it's really apparent and important in his last show,
Who is
America?
Yeah.
Because there is a part of just catching them saying weird things, but then a part of it is coercion, but not even like explicit, he wants you to say this, but more like human psychology, like to be cordial and polite and to reflect back the emotions and sentiment that you're getting from the person you're interacting with.
Right.
You end up kind of just like, let's high five over that crazy racist thing you just said. Like, you want a high five? I'll give you a high five.
Yes,
that
and
makes me
no.
look bad.
Yeah, yes and no, where I think like you're right. Like as a human, we want like the least abrasive interactions we can possibly have. And so we want to like agree with people and go along. But it's your duty when a dude comes into your shop and says, I want on that cake, Jews will not replace us, to say no. That's your job to say no.
See, but in that scenario, I just don't. In what world is that woman actually writing that and thinking that, like, she must be in on it?
No, she's not.
It totally depends on where you live and who she is. And even if she doesn't agree with the sentiment, she might agree with the idea, like, that you should be able to get whatever written on a cake that you want. Because that was, like, a controversy and a big conversation in the U.S. in the last couple of years.
Okay, wait. I feel like it has to be the case that some of these people were in on it. Like the fax guy. They go back there multiple times, and he's faxing things and getting things back and blah, blah, blah. And obviously that guy's not an actor, and he is, being paid to just like read off. He's just a normal guy who's being paid to read off these faxes. But it's like, if he doesn't know that this isn't a real thing,
I don't know.
He must.
The fax guy, to me, the fax guy is the most like that plausible. Like, they were just in there for like 3 hours sending and waiting for faxes, and they didn't tell him shit.
I wonder how long that did actually
But he's like,
take.
can you draw this? And he just like draws it, no questions asked. I mean, I guess there might be cutaways where he like laughs or something, and he's like, "What? This is weird," you know?
And I mean, like, that's the thing we don't see is all the stuff that they edit out of the movie, and like all the like him trying to coerce people into doing this crazy stuff.
And to the cake lady's credit, there may be a cut where she was like, "Oh, I don't feel good about that," or smiley faces. Are you sure? Like, she may have protested, but they're just not going to show it, right? So you do have to be skeptical, even as someone who's like left of center and loves laughing at Republicans. Like, you have to know.
No, absolutely, yeah. Like, I don't want to watch this movie and just think like, haha, look at all these racist people, look at all these horrible people, and Borat is exposing them.
Yeah.
It's like, 100%, some of them, that is a thing, but like, I don't want to think that about everybody, because I feel like that's too dark, man.
Totally.
I need a behind the scenes. I need to know.
But I mean, like, I still think it's up to you, especially in an age where there are cameras everywhere, to be in charge of what you're saying. I think that's your responsibility. And like, I mean, Who is America is much more damning of the right. It's way worse, where like they'll get 3 racist people and they'll be like, what's a quinceañera for? Oh, it's for Mexicans to rape 15-year-olds and like get shit like that. And like, it's a lot of it's him creating this safe space for them to be racist, but they're choosing to say this stuff. And like, I think in this movie it's hard because you have to go through it so quick. It's a movie, you have hour 20, it's very short. You have to get through these skits, through these interactions very quick. You don't have the time to really get the audience to buy in to the reality of the scene. So there's always at the back of your mind that defense of like, how real is this? How real is this interaction? But you shouldn't go along with a dude being like, how many gypsies can I kill with this can of propane? Like, that's not okay. There's no circumstance in which you should be like,
you do have to consider the power dynamics there. It's kind of like the Me Too stuff with, say, like Louis C.K. or something like that, where you're like, why didn't they just leave? The door wasn't locked. He's not even touching you. He's across the room. But you have to consider the power dynamics at play. Like, this guy does have a camera crew around him in his shop. We don't know the pretenses that they outlined for him, and he doesn't want to muck it up, and he's just kind of going along with it. So
I think
he's probably never been on camera forever.
That's definitely a factor. I feel like maybe he thought because of the accent there was like a mistranslation or something, and it's like I don't know.
That's the other part of it. He's dealing with some like a ESL person, and he's just like he's giving Borat the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. He's like, okay, you're saying this. You're saying you're buying this cage for your daughter, but maybe your daughter means something different. Yeah,
I totally could see like if someone said that, I'd be like, oh, he just doesn't mean that.
Yeah.
But the gypsies in particular is so clear, and he like keeps building on it. He's like, but like how many gypsies? Like a whole can, one can,
as many as you put in there.
Yeah, and so like that in particular, and there's other circumstances in the movie where I'm like, I don't feel sorry for that guy for being quote unquote tricked. No, that's the excuse that everyone on all the Sacha Baron Cohen media is like, oh, I was tricked. I didn't understand what it was. Well, then why did you make a video? Like, it doesn't matter if you were tricked into it. You should never make a video encouraging kindergartners to be armed.
Well, wait.
That's true. That's from This Is America, and that's totally true.
I think we're talking about slightly different things, because I'm not saying feel bad for the people who are who get trapped into these things or whatever. I think I just want to know the behind the scenes. Like I want to know.
That's fair.
I want to know
what they were told,
the circumstances, because like if it is like the guys at the March for Your Rights rally or whatever, when he's singing the Wuhan flu song or whatever, and they're like, chop them up like the Saudis do, and blah, blah, and everyone's singing along. I'm like, I fully believe that a lot of people who would attend this rally, maybe not a lot, but I certainly believe that some people who would attend this rally might, go along with this.
For sure.
And I think I found out about that. He did an interview with Stephen Colbert, and did you see that?
Yeah, I watched that.
And he explained that they rushed the stage. Like Black Lives Matter protesters showed up and they recognized Borat.
Yeah.
They showed up to confront the people, and they recognized Borat, and they're like, "Oh, that's Borat." And then the people at the rally caught on, and they're like, "Hey!" And then they rushed the stage and got him off or whatever. So I'm like, I believe that some of those people would say things like that, but at the same time, I'm like, there's definitely some manipulation in terms of maybe they got somebody to sing along, and then they use that close up, and then we think that there's a ton of people singing along.
Yes, but I think what people trying to defend their actions aren't really apologizing for is that they're saying the quiet parts loud. And I do believe that a lot of those people believe that and think that and kind of say that behind closed doors, but would never say that in public, would never be on film saying those things. But if you're singing along at a festival about chop up journalists the Saudis do, fuck you.
No,
you're a bad person.
Totally.
The guys that he stays with at their house, apparently he stayed with them for a week.
5 days.
5 days.
That's crazy.
And he was in character. Well, he was in character when he wasn't in his room.
Because I went through after I watched the movie, I was like, okay, who is an actor, who's not? Nobody's an actor.
Okay, Macy Chanel, the influencer. She thought that she was in character. She claims that she was in character when she said that.
Yeah, she claims that though, because she's trying to defend what she says.
But,
I don't know.
But we don't know. We don't know what they said to her.
Right.
I think
we can give her the benefit
I
of the
think
doubt.
I could tell in that moment, because it's wait. The Maria Tutor goes and she's like, I can open a beer with my small hole. And she goes, and she actually does it.
How does
and
she
I'm like,
do that?
No, I'm
on the filming
she
level,
didn't actually do it. So
but where did she get? Okay,
it's just a prop. It's a prop that makes a sound.
Oh well, maybe. But that also made me
awesome.
think that the influencer was in on it, because she was saying, I don't know, she was going along with it a little too much.
She was like, don't do that.
Yeah,
don't do that.
American women are supposed to be weak and blah blah blah. I'm like, I don't know if
fair.
people would actually say that.
She might say that to someone whose English skills are so down there.
Maybe, but I thought
15-year-old who doesn't speak English at all. Sometimes you have to simplify ideas so much.
For sure, but I feel like at the very least it's questionable.
I think what I do like about this movie is that even the two dudes that he stays with, Jim and Jerry, I don't know, who cares?
I don't know.
He does still humanize them a bit. He shows that they're kind,
totally.
and they take him in a crisis. That's really kind and warm and nice. And then they tell him about how Hillary and Obama torture kids so they can get
really
their
interesting.
adrenal blood.
It's really interesting how they say that though, because he says Borat's they really do that, and they go, it's been said. I've heard that's what we've heard.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's a lot of people on the internet will say oh, these Bilderbergs, the lizard people, blah blah blah. But then when you actually talk to them in person, they're as they're saying them out loud, they're yeah, this is kind of stupid.
Totally.
I don't really believe this.
He said too in later interviews, he kind of feels sorry for them because they're just the product of all the shit that they're consuming.
Yeah.
And as adult human beings, it's our responsibility to filter what we take in. And so it's their responsibility to not take in all these crazy conspiracy theories. But it's also harder. It is more complex than that.
I love when movies do this kind of thing, or any sort of media where they kind of take people who you would think are horrible racist Nazi people or whatever, and for sure maybe they are, but they give a more humanistic look at them and be look, this could happen to anybody. This to me is the danger of bubbles, where it's been said that Hillary Clinton drinks the blood of babies or whatever, and they hear it somewhere, but then when they interact over and over and over with only other people who also have heard that and are entertaining the idea, then the idea grows and grows and grows and gets stronger and stronger and stronger. But when they have a conversation with somebody outside their bubble, and they're like, wait, what are you talking about? And they're like, well, it's been, I heard somebody say it.
Check out how those guys were not sexist though.
Yeah.
That actually goes back to what David was saying about you being responsible for what you're saying, and how you can't really blame this scenario, because those guys, even though they had all the same pressures, although they were living with him, so it's not the same as being filmed for half an hour. They were just like, no, women have the same brains as us and the same ability to think.
Yeah, why wouldn't they be able to drive? Yeah.
Yeah, they totally, there wasn't even like a backhanded, like anything.
Yeah.
They were just like straight up.
I thought that was a measure of the progress that Western society has made.
Since the last one even.
Well, it's like we still have these people who are, that have these bigoted views and all this stuff, but like at least when you find the weirdo QAnon supporters, they believe in women's rights.
That guy though was actually a really compassionate and like nice guy.
Oh,
remember
yeah.
when
They seemed like fine.
When they were at the
I don't
protest and he sees Tudor and he goes and talks to her and he's describing the plight of Borat and trying to get Tudor back on Borat's side. He's like, if he goes back to Kazakhstan, they're going to tie him to cows and the cows are going to eat the turnips. They're going to rip him apart and that's how they're going to kill him. And he looks like he's almost crying.
Totally.
Like he really believes what he's saying.
concerned.
He's just such a gullible idiot, but his heart is in the right place.
And I, like you were saying, Riley, I think that that's one of the successes of this movie is that they can show how stupid what they're saying is saying, but like they're still people with like complex layers and like there's good layers to those people.
Yeah, I think one of the most dangerous aspects of like political polarization, I mean, we're in Canada, so we're not experiencing it as bad as other places in the world, but one of the worst things about polarization is the tendency, it just like solidifies this tribal mentality that like the other side is just these horrible devil people and they don't deserve anything.
And the chasm cannot be crossed.
Yeah,
there is no common ground.
Exactly. But it's I feel like things like this, movies like Borat, really, I feel like they serve to illustrate that.
Totally.
Look, we're all people. We all have minds that can be changed. Just like let's try not to kill each other.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to get across, and something that media often tries to do. Like I was watching a Star Trek episode last night where they capture an injured Borg and they like kind of get him back to health, and they kind of one by one learn that like when this Borg is separated from the group, they're actually like an individual, and as you like teach them compassion and kindness,
He's actually a really great guy.
Yeah, Hugh, he's great. I am Hugh.
Oh wow.
But he learns compassion and like learns friendship and all these things, and I think like that's what we've totally lost is the ability to cross the bridges to meet with people where they are and talk. It's like we converse through 280 characters at a time. We yell at each other, and it's like way more satisfying, way more like objectively gratifying to slam dunk on people.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm 100% guilty of this. So like I've done it. I'm super guilty of it. But
Twitter's hard, man.
For sure. It feels way better to just like, oh, that's fucking stupid.
Well,
like slam dunk, retort.
The most insidious part of the whole fake news kind of paradigm is the fact that nothing is real. They've delegitimized all institutions and authorities. So we can't have the debate because we can't agree on facts.
Right.
Because we're in a post-truth era. There is no truth.
Yeah.
So we might as well not even talk. We're never going to get along.
Right.
We're never going to hash this out.
It just kind of devolves back to survival of the strongest.
I had a discussion with this guy in my family who we disagreed on something like that, and I learned two things. First of all, I learned that because he actually was like, no, we might as well not even talk about it. And
It makes me so upset.
And the second thing I learned was if you're talking to somebody who writes the letters MSM instead of typing out mainstream media, that means they type out and talk about mainstream media too much. They're fucked. Leave the room.
Right.
Yeah. And that's a hard thing is that sometimes.
You agree?
Oh man, this guy, as soon as I saw, I'm like, what's MSM? What? That must be mainstream media. Whoa.
Wow.
Well,
You're at
yeah.
that level? I'm out of here.
And we're talking about how we shouldn't do this and we want to cross the aisle, but at the same time, I think I agree with you where it's like, that's going to be a long conversation.
Don't do it over text.
Process.
Well,
Do not do it over text.
That's the hard thing too, and I think it's
Practically
exacerbated.
impossible.
It's exacerbated by the quarantine, where even the people that I've disagreed the most with, when I was at my most religious, and I've met with the absolute like most staunch atheists, in person, you can have those debates. You can listen to them. They can listen to you.
Yeah.
You can like work around the nuances, and it's like you don't have to sound angry, but when it's in text, it always sounds angry.
Right.
And like because we're quarantined, we can't have these in-person conversations except with the people that are already inside our bubbles that share our values. And so like I think that this year has been especially bad not only is like the political landscape an absolute nightmare, but because there is no ability to cross those bridges.
People have just been staying home and interacting online.
It's totally worse.
Again, weird to reference Louis C.K. twice in one podcast, but he said it best when he was talking about bullying and cyberbullying, because when you used to bully kids on the schoolyard, you said something mean to them, and you saw their face scowl and be hurt, then you saw that face, and instinctively you might mirror it, and you'd be like, wow, what I just said had an impact and was mean. Damn, maybe I shouldn't do that. When you do that on the internet, you're just like, send, see you later.
Yes. Suck it, robot.
Yeah, and you see likes going up, and you're like, oh, that was fun. That was hilarious.
Oh, man, did you see this like zinger I made? How many likes it got?
Are we ready to pivot?
Yeah.
I have a list of different types of comedy that are in this movie.
Hell yeah, let's do it.
And I think it's a fun way to go through the movie. We can dwell on our favorite jokes from each type. First of all, a mainstay of Borat is watching people be uncomfortable. You just see him, because he's ostensibly from a different culture, you see him doing wacky crap and everyone else around him reacting to it. Like in this one where they go to they actually manufacture a kind of like debutante ball.
Okay, yeah, I had questions about this.
What's your question?
Well, first of all, I mean, it makes sense in hindsight, I guess, that these things exist, but I had never really encountered, like, I've never seen this before, where it's like, wait, is this the 18th century or something?
I would imagine.
Are these like nobility having like balls and stuff?
This would be similar to like the pageant world type of circles. So what they said, they said that they were doing a documentary.
Right.
So all these fathers and daughters brought their...
Did they make this ball event like for the documentary? Or
I think so. I think their crew threw this event. And that's how he walks up to the DJ and he's like, hey, can you play a kind of song? And suddenly he plays the correct song.
Right.
It's because they threw the event.
And he paid all those people to be there. They were all paid like $100. Like someone came out after and was like, I had no idea what was going on. I was told it was part of a documentary. We got $100 for being here.
And their phones were taken away.
Yep.
You can see like when these crazy events are happening, when they're doing this,
no one's got their phones
they're doing
out.
this traditional dance where she like reveals her like hairy, bloody vagina.
The moon blood dance.
No one's taking videos, which is what everybody would do.
It's the fertility dance.
That was shocking.
But that whole scene is just watching other people react to it, right?
Yeah.
Amazing.
I like the when he's trying to get his phone and he like finds out you can go on Pornhub on the phone.
Oh my God.
And then he takes it to the bathroom, but it's still connected to the display so the guy can see what he's watching.
Yeah. And the guy just so casual about it. He
figured it
doesn't know
out.
what to do. Brian. Yeah.
Another type of humor is watching people say crazy shit given the circumstances, which we've been talking about already. Yeah. There's one of that debutante ball. That's so awesome. The guy, I don't know what he's trying to get across, but again, he's simplifying his language because he's talking to Borat, but he ends up saying, that's what we love in the South. Pretty girls. They're fun. It's like, what?
Your daughter. He's like talking about his 15-year-old. Okay, wait. Did anyone believe that she was 15? Because she's 24.
She goes to that babysitter.
I know, but like...
She looked pretty young.
It's hard to tell, and you don't want to like.
She has so much
like,
makeup on.
Yeah,
She
could be
does.
like, yeah, she looks older.
It's true.
I think my favorite comedic setup is when Tudor swallows the plastic baby, and it's like you're like, this is a funny joke. Like, oh, for the first time he's showing a little kindness to her, he gives her a cupcake, and she doesn't really know what to do with it, and just eats the baby whole.
Yeah.
And like they're trying to get it out, but they go to an abortion clinic. But it's one of like the not real abortion clinics that exists to convince people not to get abortions.
Right.
And no matter what
pastor, not a doctor.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
This is amazing.
No matter what they do, no matter what they say, he's like, yeah, you absolutely shouldn't get it. He's like, no, it's my baby. Like I
just feel bad
I put
because
it in
I'm
her.
the one that put the baby in her.
And like
my daughter.
It's one of those things. I think that's like when Borat's at its best, when it's like merging the absolute shocking with actual like a point, and it's showing how fucked up these places are. Like they don't need to exist.
Right.
They're not helpful in any way. And like if a dad molested his daughter, like that girl shouldn't keep that baby. That's fucked up.
Yeah, and the guy's like, look, it's not important how we got here.
He doesn't even want to know. He doesn't want to know the details.
Yeah.
That's just another type that I've got listed here. That's the audience superior. It's probably one of the only times in the movie where the previous scene where they're in that back alley eating that cupcake, you're like, why are they walking behind this dumpster? What is going on? You think something crazy is going to happen right then and there. It doesn't. It doesn't happen until the next scene. It all just serves as setup. So in the next scene, they could say, I gave her a treat. You know what I mean? But how could I not? That face.
I think that's a great example of like how the movie does such a great job of connecting all of these seemingly unrelated scenes. Like,
Yeah.
it's the movie is composed of all of these kind of like, well, not hidden camera, but kind of like documentary bits, and they've connected all of them with these little skits.
Totally.
And I think there's an art there in how they found out how they could connect all
Well,
of
that's
them.
probably why there's like 7 writers on the credits.
Totally. Well, like, because you think about it, like, and when she swallows the baby, you're not like, this is weird and like it's part of another joke. It just feels like it's the natural conclusion to what just happened.
Yeah.
And so like the flow of it is so brilliant. And like you can really see the 7 writers work to connect it all so smoothly.
My question there, though, is why did that cake shop, the same cake shop where they wrote "The Jews will not replace us" on the cake, why did they have cupcakes with babies on them?
That might have been planted.
That was another thing
So-
why that made me think that
That's probably
that was
planted.
kind of a setup.
I think that's a planted one.
The cake shop, they think they're doing a different documentary, or some other pretense, but I just wonder, can you make up like a dozen cupcakes that have babies on them? They're like, okay, I guess. Just kind of weird.
Yeah, I think that could be real. And I mean, like at that point, they're not really like interacting that much with her, or they're not trying to get a crazy reaction out of the lady.
Yeah.
They just are now telling the story that is part of the next scene.
But that's another example of when there's like dialogue between Borat and Tutor, which is for the narrative, but they do it in like what do you say, like in situ. They do it right there in the scene, and that real life person who's not an actor is also standing right there because she's like, Daddy, I really want this cupcake. He's like, no, daughters, and like they're doing that. Like these are rehearsed, like written dialogue lines, and they just do it in a real life setting. So it kind of really blurs the lines between what the hell am I watching? It's like a whole new format.
It also just gives me a ton of respect for these 2 actors that they are able to pull this off and not break or not screw up the lines or whatever in the situation with a real person. I'm like, there are no reshoots, man. You can't do it again.
So good. And that's what he says. He's like, this is the hardest kind of filmmaking to make, is that like there's one opportunity, and like once you burn it, it's burnt. That's it. You're never ever going to see those people. Mom spaghetti. Vomit. Yeah. But
but that's why they have to be so method and really be those characters, because the example that I thought was the craziest version of this was when Tudor's in the car with her babysitter lady, a crazy hero of a lady.
She's
the
great.
best.
And she's explaining to her how she should not get breast implants and she should use her brain and like,
go to school,
and have like a real life and self-determination and all that. And so if you're Tudor, the actor, or you're Maria Bakalova, the actor sitting there, you're like everyone on set who can hear what that woman is saying is like, yes, this is gold. This is gold.
And that's what I guess that's my question is like how much of this whole storyline was mapped up. I mean, they must have known that they wanted to do this whole like family, well, not redemption arc, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, like learning to love his daughter.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is like when Tudor's sitting there hearing that gold, obviously part of her brain is being excited that they're getting this
and
gold.
she doesn't break.
She never smiles or gets excited. She just stays in character and gives her a heartfelt hug and is almost crying while hugging her.
Yeah.
It's just masterful acting.
Yeah, I want to know what the relationship is between those moments that happen where they're like, whoa, this is a good storyline. The relationship between that happening naturally and them having this storyline beforehand and then trying their best to have these live situations kind of feed into that.
There's probably so much material that's just not funny, but is necessary.
Or cut, totally
it's just
cut.
Yeah.
There could have been other babysitters. There could be all these characters they lived with for 3 days that we never see.
Yeah,
well, I could totally see that they go to 10 bakeries or whatever, and then like 9 of them don't do what they want, and they just keep going until they get the one that they want. And it makes it look even more ridiculous.
But some of this stuff was so recent, like the Giuliani thing, the Pence rally was in February.
Yeah, we knew. We heard about that. We heard about the other rally too. But we didn't know that was Sacha Baron Cohen. That's like what's crazy. Because we had heard that.
Mean you heard about that when it happened?
That was like a thing. It was like a weird Trump impersonator broke into Pence rally.
I never heard about it.
And like that was basically all I heard. And I was like, oh, that's weird. Whatever. It's just some weirdo or some
trying
protester.
to offer his daughter to the vice president.
I don't remember hearing that in the headline.
He said he waited in the bathroom for 5 hours. So he burst in the lobby in a Klan outfit, right?
Yeah.
No one stops him.
And I think he goes from that to the bathroom.
He does. Yeah.
Then he waits 5 hours.
Oh my god.
And then he busts into
that Trump mask looked really good.
Well, cinema quality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like professionally made and stuff.
Yeah, so it wasn't just a mask. It was like they did the full makeup.
He didn't buy that at a store.
In the story of the movie, he got it, but yeah.
I was like, how does the mask look so good?
Yeah, I wonder if that was an improvised moment when he's at the costume store and there's the Borat costume. I thought that was funny.
It It
that's
must-
like
I don't know.
planted.
They
It must
might
have
have planned
been.
it. Who knows?
I mean, he's big enough that he could still have a
It
costume.
wasn't
only
even like
things
that
I-
funny of a moment. I feel like it must have been.
I thought it was great because he was totally in character, being like, "There's nothing like
No,
me."
it was good. It was good. It was good. I just feel like if they, I don't know. Who
The
knows?
only one I know for sure is set up is when at the beginning when he's going outside and demonstrating how everyone knows what he looks like now, and he's walking around with a bag on his head, and then he runs into the street and a car almost hits him and slams the brakes.
Yeah, that's-
you know he's not going to run in the street and risk his
Yeah.
life. Like that's their car. But I don't know about like when Tudor arrives in Johnny the Monkey's crate, and then Borat's like, "No, we're sending her back," and he gets the
That
guy to
dude.
hammer it shut again. Is
Yeah.
that an actor?
No, that guy's got to be hired. Like,
I don't know. I think that like, if I was that person, I would assume that it's like a joke and it's a movie, and you just kind of like that. I
But
feel like
I
I would
think-
go along with. I'm like, they're not actually shipping her back, and like, if he actually wants me to drive it back, I'll drive her a little bit and then see what's up.
I think what makes sense to me in this in those moments is that the people that they're hiring are not actors. They're not, any sort of. They're just dudes. They're just
Yeah.
regular random people, and they don't really care. They're like, oh, I get to be in a documentary. Cool. I'll kind of
Yeah.
like play
You
along
probably
with
get
it.
like $100 or
And
whatever.
and then they're like playing along to a certain extent, and it ends up looking like they're just uninvolved random people.
Yeah.
But they're in on it. Like that guy has to be. He's helping them. He's helping him nail his
Yeah.
daughter back into a box.
I
Like,
don't know, man. Again,
He's
people
not
are,
just some rent. Like
people are deferential. The boss says, "Do this."
yeah, I
okay.
know. But what I'm saying, I'm saying that guy knows that it's a gag.
Yeah, I think that
Sure.
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
he knows it's a gag.
He doesn't actually think that's what
100%.
he's
I think
doing.
yeah, there is definitely some of
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Another moment that's like totally, this is the essence of Borat. This is why we come to see Borat, is the whole fish out of water aspect. But they do it so much more delicately in this one. Whereas in the first one, we can watch like a 10-minute scene of him not knowing how to drive. In this one, they just do a quick reversal of that, where it's his daughter in the car. She's not driving. She's frightened because she doesn't think any woman can drive. And she's
Oh
freaking
my
out from
God.
that.
Yeah.
But the best fish out of water stuff is, why is the sky so low? Honey, this is a room. And when she's riding in the car, there's so little wind inside.
Yeah. Oh, I
They
love
don't
it.
spend time. They're all one-liners, so
Yeah.
we still get the satisfaction of watching Borat, but we just don't dwell on it because it would be old hat if they
Yeah.
beat the horse with that.
Totally.
I think a lot of that stuff is improv, right? Because
Probably. I think that line was probably written. The sky so low.
I don't even know.
Maybe that's
Who
a
knows?
brilliant line. She's brilliant, so
room.
maybe.
This is called a room.
The fact that you have to ask, and again with the actors, who's the actor or not, the fact that you have to ask the
Yeah.
questions mean
Yeah.
that they did an amazing
Totally.
job.
Yeah, they had to make sure that she was excellent at improv.
Yeah. Oh, man, I love everything about this movie. I love that the soundbite they use of Mike Pence is him being like, there's only like 15 cases in the US and like 2 new ones. And we're like, with the, like, what is it? The audience, like higher perspective, like with our knowledge of what actually has
Superior.
transpired.
Yeah.
The 8 million cases, the 225,000 deaths.
And Borat calls him a pussy hound. Pussy hound Mike Pence. That's so hilarious.
so good. Yeah. You can't leave him in a room with him.
The best type of humor that I think Borat is really known for, though, I didn't know what the name for this was. So I went onto our subreddit called Ask Linguistics.
Oh, wow.
Or Ask Linguists. Is there a name for this type of humor? The type of humor where you use overly simplistic or literal language to expose the kind of nature of a thing. So everyone has seen recently these cartoons that are by a guy named Nathan Pyle, where it's aliens doing human things. And it's like an alien is like giving a candle as a gift, and it's like it's a gift that you need another tool to turn on.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's just like
over literal.
Here is a self-combusting wax pillar or something.
Yeah, and it's just like exposes the absurdity of the culture or the behavior. And so I only got one reply, but the guy or the person said, this is sometimes called defamiliarization.
Oh.
And defamiliarization is like it's a higher level kind of concept that applies to more stuff, and it's all postmodern and Foucault and crap like that. And but that's what it is. So when you can see like at the end of the movie when they have, instead of a Jew parade, they have like the scary American parade,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
it's like they kill Fauci and he's like stomping on the syringe, and it's like, yeah, the Americans have succeeded in their battle against science, and it just exposes like how stupid this
Yeah.
all is.
I love it.
Ironically,
Defamiliarization.
Ironically, I think the act of you explaining defamiliarization is an act of defamiliarization in itself.
Oh, the layers. This
That
podcast is
show,
quality.
not Dan Harmon, the other guy from
Mark Maron?
no, the other guy from Rick and Morty.
Justin
doesn't-
Roiland?
Yeah, his other show, Solar Opposites.
Yeah. Oh,
That's all about defamiliarization
Yeah.
too.
Right,
The
right.
aliens like living in this human world.
Pretty good show.
Third Rock from the Sun.
Oh, shit.
thought there's another show about aliens too.
Probably. It's okay. There's lots of aliens. They're real. They build the pyramids.
Oh, one of the best was when he finds out the Holocaust isn't real.
Oh, yeah.
And then, well,
I couldn't fit this into my, because you were like, do the synopsis real quick, and I was like, oh, it's Borat. It's going to be a real quick synopsis. And then as I was writing, I was like, whoa, there's a lot of like little twisty-turny things that happen.
I guess this still counts as defamiliarization, but just how amazing it is. Just the feeling that you get, the emotion your experiences is so novel when it's like, he's happy to learn that the Holocaust is not fake news, which I'm happy to learn that.
Let's back up, because Tudor, one of the reasons Tudor runs away is because she sees a fake news thing about the Holocaust being not real.
Yeah.
So then she's like, look, the Holocaust is not real.
Yeah,
and
everything
your
I
life
believe is not
and
real.
he's depressed
No,
because
she's
of
got
it.
this book that is like the rule book of all their worldview, and then she says, "No, I found Facebook. Facebook is full of truth."
Right.
And she shows Facebook, and it's like Holocaust isn't real.
When she's had the scenes with the babysitter, she's discovered masturbation and that she won't be eaten by her toothy vagina.
Yes. So anyways, he's depressed because he's like, oh, the Holocaust isn't real. So then he decides to commit...
Because he loves the Holocaust?
Yeah, because all the
national
Kazakhstan
pride
is anti-Semitic.
Yep.
So then he decides to commit suicide by dressing up as a Jew. Right. He decides to commit suicide by entering a synagogue.
Oh, yeah.
And so he'll be killed by Jews. So then he dresses up as what he thinks a Jew is.
Did you see his costume? He's carrying a marionette puppet, and on the puppet it says media.
That whole costume is so amazing.
He's got a super long nose. He's got devil wings.
So then he
the
talks to like
claws.
a Holocaust survivor and Holocaust educator who's now deceased. The lady that he actually he dedicated the movie to. What an amazing woman.
Yeah.
You can tell she's so sick.
She's
but anyway, she tells him the Holocaust did happen and she was there. So then he experiences like being so happy that it wasn't fake news. And it's weird because I'm happy that it's not fake news. Like, I'm happy that the world knows it actually happened.
Yeah.
But he's happy also for a completely different reason than me. And that is just like so elegant.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. There's so many layers to it. I love that lady though. Like, I want to dwell on how
for sure.
much that, like, we talked a little bit about that, like crossing the bridges, that kindness can kind of solve a lot of what's going on. She's proof of that. Like,
Totally.
imagine someone came face to face with you with like a racial stereotype as offensive as can be and is like trying to get a rise out of you.
Yeah.
And you just like slow them down, like step by step, kind of just dismantle their beliefs.
I think though, I don't know exactly the details, but this was
No, she wasn't.
No.
Wait,
But what
wait.
did happen was, in this case, they actually broke their own rule and they did tell her, because I think it was just too extreme.
After.
I think it was
No.
during. They did tell her that thing was a gag, and
Yeah.
then they moved forward after that.
What I read was that like they got through it, and at the end he was just like, "We have to rectify this." And I mean, like she's on rec. So there's a whole drama around that. Her family was suing the production because they were upset, and they said that she didn't know what was going on, and that it's like defamation. And it's like kind of like from an outside perspective watching the movie, it's like, no, she's the hero of the movie.
That's right. She's actually espousing the real themes. She's the anti-satire.
The case got thrown out because they have footage of him explaining what the movie is to her. So like they did do that.
Yeah.
But
She forgot.
no, her family was like upset because like fair enough if you're.
But it seems like they were upset because they were confused too.
I think they were, but I think they were just. It's not cool to have your dead relative in a movie if you don't fully understand. And like if it was a Borat movie, you'd be like apprehensive to accept it
and
right away.
it's sensitive subject matter.
Yeah.
It's like her whole identity and life's work is the Holocaust.
It seems like there was just some miscommunication where like the Borat producers probably thought that she understood and she thought she understood, but then the movie came out and they were like, what?
Yeah.
Hilarious though when she's like, "Do I have a small nose?
Yeah.
Do I have a big nose? Does my friend have a big nose?" And then Borat's like, "Well, hers is a little bit bigger, but."
And then he's like, "I'm hungry," and it just immediately cuts to them eating soup.
Yeah.
on the synagogue pews, like,
Yeah, I think when they take the time to add warmth to the movie, I think that's just like what the missing ingredient of the first one is.
There's so many grace notes.
Totally. There's no warmth in the first one, but this one, like, there's a lot of like kindness and human like goodness.
Yeah.
That really helps to make the disgust palatable.
Like Borat doesn't really learn a lot of things in the first one.
No.
He's still Borat.
Yeah.
But this one, it's like they take that starting point of, okay, we're from this culture where women are nothing better than livestock, and they go and they change it. They're like, okay, I do admit that I love my daughter, and it's like
he loves his daughter even more than his sons. Because at the beginning he says, I wouldn't, if I loved you equally to my sons, I would get a death sentence. And in the end, he thinks he's going to die, and he leaves his whole estate to her.
Right.
I have a question. I have a related question though, which is, do you think that Borat or Tutar is the protagonist, or do you think it's a dual protagonist movie? It's really tough because here's how you figure out who the protagonist is. Number one, who gets the most screen time? Yeah, it's actually pretty equal. They have a lot of screen time together, and they each have their own solo screen time as well. Who drives the plot? At the beginning, kind of Borat, but then it's really give and take. Sometimes he's doing things in response to like her desires.
Yes and no. I don't think it's. I think it is Borat because like if you look at like the arc that they're going through, like he has the low point. He is the one that's like on the quest. He's the one that has the most growth. Like her. I
don't think she has the. I was gonna say.
No, I should say her growth happens way earlier, and like that's not part of like the arc of the movie. Her growth is at like the like mid to 2/3 point where she's now liberated as a woman and she wants to be her own person, whereas Borat has to like use that growth to have his final part of the arc.
Right. Okay. So who has the longest emotional journey to go on is one aspect of it. Another one is who's present and like active during the climax, and I think that's what you're talking about right now, and that's Borat. So you could say it's Borat.
And I think like if you look at the climax, he's the one that's actively trying to stop something, actively trying to change it, and she's like kind of already doing her thing. Like I would say that Borat is.
I guess that brings us to the thing that we have to absolutely talk about, Rudy Giuliani.
So this was a headline before this movie came out, and like they released the photo of him on the bed with his hand down his pants and stuff. Right. I don't think it's as bad as people want to make it out to be.
Let's describe the scene.
Absolutely.
Okay, so they have an interview. She's obviously trying to like kind of be flirty.
For sure.
During the interview.
Puts her hand on his knees and stuff.
But he also like, hey, come here, grabs both of her hands, goes, you're doing great. And like he's really touchy too.
There's definitely some weird
big smiles,
interpersonal kind of thing going on there.
For sure.
She says, let's go talk alone in this other room. He gladly goes with her.
Yeah. Drinking scotch.
They're drinking alcohol and cheersing and shit. They go into this other room, and I guess that's when he sits down on the bed. He asks her for her address and phone number. That's the only context we're given. We don't know if she initiated that by like,
he said that?
Yeah.
Wait, why would he?
He said, write down your address and phone number. The way it's presented, it makes it sound creepy, like he wants to get together with him. But we don't know if she posed a question that he's answering.
There's a lot we don't see.
Yeah.
And that makes it definitely...
She helps him remove his microphone, which I guess is under his shirt.
Yeah.
And then, so she's kind of like lowering herself down while he's seated on the bed. And then he leans backward and lays on the bed. And at this point, I'm yelling at my TV. I'm like, no! Because I heard that some crazy crap happened in this movie. Yeah. And then before he leans back on the bed, though, he puts his hand on her, like on her waist, on the back, and like kind of rubs her or pats her, which is totally inappropriate. Yeah.
Yes.
Then he lies down and just does tuck his shirt in like a fat guy would.
It's a little bit weird how he does it. Like, I'm not ready to say that he wasn't tucking his shirt in, but it's like the way at least it's edited, it looks like he's taking his sweet time down there.
Like the way that I ended up seeing this, I think, was that he was definitely thinking that they were going to do something, you know? And I don't think that she really tried to go any other way. Like, she definitely led him on. But I think that the big thing that people were getting up in arms about was the fact that she's supposed to be 15 in the movie, but like she does not look 15.
No, she wouldn't have presented herself as 15 to him. Yeah. She's a reporter for this. Like, no, he thinks she's 25 or
He
something.
knows that she's of age.
I think it's one of the biggest shames of that scene is that they don't let it play out, that like Borat bursts in and ends it.
I know.
And I really wish that they had played it out a little bit more. And I mean, like, if I was, what's her name, Maria Baccarat? Bakalova. I'm sorry. If I was her, I wouldn't really want to be alone with Rudy Giuliani for any extended amount of period of time. So absolutely on a human level.
She said that she felt safe the whole time because her crew was, and Sacha Baron Cohen himself was just in like a hidden closet in the same room.
I think she would say that, but at the same time, like if I was producing this film, I would not expect this actress to go any further, you know, because like from there, it's like, what are they going to do? Start touching each other? It's like, all right, that's not. Okay. You're not acting anymore.
But it is a little bit I think a disappointment compared to what all the headlines made it out to be, where it's like it doesn't feel like it's a crazy like, oh my god, I can't believe Rudy Giuliani did. I'm like, yeah, he's like old,
Yeah,
weird,
it's like, oh,
creepy
what?
dude.
You can't believe that Rudy Giuliani would cheat on his wife? Like, come on.
Yeah, of course he does.
As usual, the truth is somewhere between the statements from both sides.
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
Giuliani's statement that he's like, it was complete fabrication and I was being completely appropriate and all I'm doing is tucking in my shirt.
Well, you weren't being...
No, he was not completely appropriate.
Yeah.
That's off base. But so is Sacha Baron Cohen saying like, "Hey, it speaks for itself," because it doesn't quite, because we don't know how they edited it. And if Sacha Baron Cohen really had some really damning footage, he would just release the unedited like 2-hour cut. They just give it to us.
Yeah, I think before having seen the scene, hearing Sacha Baron Cohen being like, "Hey, I'm not going to say what happened or what didn't happen. You can decide for yourself." It's like,
he says, "Go watch the movie."
Yeah,
he's promoting the movie.
Well, and
it's like, you edited it, man.
Exactly. It's like pretending like a movie has no editorial voice, but of course it does. An editor has a huge editorial
Not even a movie,
voice.
a documentary.
A documentary.
It still does.
Yeah, absolutely.
Listen, I didn't make this movie.
The one thing
it just happened.
The one thing I will say is I like what Sacha Baron Cohen also said later, I think, where it's just like, if that, because actually, let's go back. I find it very interesting that Rudy Giuliani is trying to say, like, I didn't get caught. I didn't get got. But, like, what was getting caught? What does that look like to Rudy Giuliani? Like, if Borat bursted in and they had, like, a threesome? Like, what's the line for, like, I wasn't got by these people.
Well,
the
reason he was acting the way he was is for plausible deniability. Because like you have to also imagine that he's wearing a wedding ring, and you know, there's times like people have a limited capacity for willpower. You have more willpower at the beginning of the day that you do at the end of the day,
sure.
and it gets chipped away.
Yep.
That's just science. So I think that he's probably sitting there. I don't know how many glasses of whiskey he had. Definitely aroused. Definitely flirting, and he's not being active other than that little pat on the back or whatever. He's not like, you know, whip his dick out, but like he's waiting for her to do stuff, and maybe he would let it go that way if it went that way.
Yeah.
So he's leaving himself, he's just riding the line where he's like, I'm open, but I'm giving myself plausible deniability, so no one will be able to say that they got me.
Yeah,
so that's why it is a kind of corrupted position to take. He's not being like Captain America here.
No,
he is
for
being
sure.
creepy, but he just, you know what it is? It's just like when Trump said total exoneration. No.
Yeah.
The opposite of guilty is not innocent. It is not guilty.
Yeah.
People don't get found innocent. They get found not guilty, and that's where Giuliani is here.
Like
Totally.
I
That's
can
fair.
watch the scene and decide for myself that I think that he's being a total sleazebag.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I don't think that in the wider culture this is reason for cancellation or whatever, because it's like he didn't do anything against her consent or whatever.
And she's
not
clearly
underage.
making it welcome.
Yeah. It's like the worst thing that
There's
could
a lot
be
of
taken
other-
from this is that maybe he's cheating on his wife, which is like shouldn't really come as a shock to anybody that a high-powered political person.
There's a lot of other reasons why we would cancel Rudy Giuliani before this interview.
Dude, the most shocking thing in the whole movie was like when he's giving that interview and he says that the coronavirus was developed by the Chinese in a lab. I'm like,
Yeah.
I like know that right-wing people, some of them believe that kind of stuff, but I didn't know that people like him just said that shit.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't know.
is that? Wait, and I also don't know. Is that substantiated? Like, is there really evidence that it was made in the lab?
No, that's been disproven.
Has it been disproven?
Well, there's no evidence, I guess.
Yeah,
that's
I
what's
think
been proven
what
is
you
that
would
there is
say
no
is that
evidence.
there isn't conclusive evidence for sure, but there's very
But when you
questionable
say-
evidence.
when he said that, I was like,
but when you
what?
say-
They say
but I
that
think that's
shit?
important not to phrase it that way. When you say there's no conclusive evidence, that sounds like there is evidence, but there is no evidence either way.
Well, I guess it depends on what you. I haven't looked super deeply into it, but I
Oh god, I can't wait for the comments. on
haven't
this one.
seen like.
Oh boy.
Yeah, let's not get into this.
Fair
I
enough.
think it was shocking to me to hear him say it so
Yeah.
flatly. You know, just being like, "Well, you know, they did it."
I mean,
I know that. I was just like, that's
the whole
insane.
point of their campaign isn't anything but misinformation and like emotional reactions, and so like whatever, we can't really fight misinformation like that. It is what it is. It's what I found even more shocking than that was like obviously didn't start with a bat. Like, who would eat a bat? And he's like, I would eat a bat with you. He's like, oh, I'd eat a bat with you too. He said I can't remember. I'm missing the exact phrasing, but it's like, yeah, to that extent.
It will hurt my stomach
Oh.
and also hurt my asshole. She's talking about giving birth to the baby.
Yeah, and he's like, "It will hurt," and he's like, "Yes, it will," because his arms are out like this. the baby's arms are out.
And the I'm not gonna say doctor. That guy, counselor,
pastor.
the counselor doesn't know anything.
Yeah.
He thinks that like she actually would say asshole instead of vagina.
So the thing about the Chinese lab that I saw was that they had samples of the virus in a lab.
Well, yeah.
But so that's what people are talking about, I think, when they were like, it was in a lab. So it's like, yeah, it's weak evidence at the very
At the most.
Gracious.
But yeah, I think that's what I saw where I was like, oh, I thought there was something.
Yeah,
but that's it.
And that's fair. I mean, like, if there was a disease breaking out, I would want the labs to have samples of it.
And you would expect CDC to have, they have samples of all these horrible diseases.
I would hope so. Yeah, to me, that's like not real evidence, but of course, anything can be misconstrued anyway.
Yeah.
Facts are feelings now.
Other different types of humor in this movie. Borat's middle name is Margaret. It just gets revealed, a new piece of the canon. Thank you. About slapstick when he's at their house and he's like trying to kill coronavirus with a hammer. And finally, I don't know what you call this, but remember when he's explaining to the Holocaust survival lady, he's trying to explain his whole like rude why he's in America, like what's been going on. He's describing these crazy events to her, and he's like, and I'm sure you figured out what happened next. You remember that? He's like, well, I came here, I tried to deliver my daughter to Mike Pence, and I'm sure you could figure out what happened next. I thought that was just such a good joke.
Obviously, yeah. She's like just tracking with him on it.
This movie's so good. I will say, I think that Who is America is better. I was like, I started rewatching it after watching this movie. It is so much more, maybe it's me being angry, but that movie fits my like where my heart is at more. It's just such an angrier tone.
David,
Yeah,
I don't think
fits
you need
you.
to. I don't think you need to find things that make you more angry.
Oh, but
You
it's
also don't need to
so
convince us. We believe you. But it's so much better than his other movies. Like, did you
Yeah.
see? It went downhill. It was like
So downhill.
It went to
Bruno,
which was okay,
It's
but I never
fine.
watched it twice.
That one's just cringe. Like, there's no point to it. Like, he's not
Yeah.
making a pro LGBTQ movie. He's just making an absurd movie for shock.
The only thing I remember from that one that I still quote today is carb goggles.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah. I never saw Bruno.
What was that noise someone just made?
I think an interesting question for me surrounding all the Borat stuff is like Sacha Baron Cohen. Like, what is his legacy? He's starting to do these. He's trying to get into like serious acting. I mean, obviously he is a serious actor.
Yeah,
he's
very good actor.
He's done amazing things that no other actor. Many other actors would struggle greatly to
Yes.
do, and I have great respect for him as a performer. But like, what do movies like this really accomplish? Because clearly he has humanitarian goals. He's very involved in the Jewish Anti-Defamation League, and you know
He gave that great anti-Facebook speech earlier
Right.
in the year.
Right. He clearly has moral goals that he's trying to achieve. But like, how much does a movie like this get him closer to that? Because I feel like it doesn't accomplish much.
Well, you talked about filter bubbles. People who don't agree with his views are going to watch this.
Right.
A lot of people are like you. They watched Borat 1 and loved it when they were in high school, but they didn't have their political identity formed, and then they're going to get blindsided by this. Where just like that, there was a review on Rotten Tomatoes that David was reading where it's like, oh, he's so woke, blah, 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 blah. The jokes aren't funny. It's like, well, you clearly liked Borat 1, and then you came in here, and you have a different
I
political
saw some
baggage.
good reviews where it's like anything would be better than this. Watching like Sacha Baron Cohen take a shit would be better than this. And I'm like, literally, that's what happens in the first movie. Is he fucking takes a shit in a napkin.
Rewatch the first one.
Yeah.
There are definitely political things in the first one.
But
though. I remember him talking about Bush.
Yeah, it's for sure both sides though, because he takes down like feminists, he takes down like LGBTQ plus people. Like he goes for everybody.
Yeah.
There's no. It's like South Park where no one can be offended because everyone's being attacked.
Right.
But I mean, obviously this fits my political views more. But I also think like having a target kind of makes it better.
I also think that this cultural moment where people are more polarized means that people are reacting more strongly to this. Because yes, it involves him trying to give someone away to Mike Pence or whatever, and like we encounter a lot of people in America that he gets them to say racist or sexist or just generally weird things.
Yeah.
But I think that if this movie came out, when the first Borat movie came out, I don't think that there would be so much backlash against it, like on the right or whatever. Like I think that the fact that we're in this moment where it feels like America is about to break out into civil war.
It's a historic moment.
Yeah.
I don't think in our lifetime, certainly the tension's never been this high. The stakes have never been this high.
Yeah.
Like, we could be watching democracy be unraveled. We don't know what is going to happen on November 3rd.
I think I feel that. And I acknowledge that that's the general sentiment. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't like saying it out loud, because if the election happens and everything's fine and like whatever, things are peaceful, then it's like all of this rhetoric is going to come. Like, we're going to see ourselves saying this and be like...
I also want this podcast to last longer than 3 days. Like, so when people are listening to this 2 weeks from now, it's not like really, really dated.
Yeah.
I think, though, we'll say, I don't want to get too political in this podcast, but I will say it's very important to vote, whatever your political belief.
And that's how the movie ended.
To participate in democracy.
There was a call to action at the end of the movie when the credits rolled. It said, "Now go vote or be execute." I thought that was pretty cool.
Totally. I do really like that.
And so the movie has a point because of that.
Well, I actually think it's kind of irresponsible to use a platform to tell people how to vote, especially if like your platform includes very impressionable people.
Okay.
Like I used to work for a church, and something I really respected of the pastors is that they never told people how to vote. And I mean, like,
right.
Churches are historically very right-leaning because they're protecting unborn children and kind of our anti-gay. And so, like, I didn't want them to be like, vote for the right wing. I was like, no, vote left wing. We want to protect these people. We want to have pro freedom. But I appreciated that they are choosing to just say, go and vote, go and participate in democracy, because like that's a responsible thing. And like, that's something we should all do. Even in elections that aren't this insane and like the stakes aren't this high, it's important to participate in democracy, or else.
I mean, it's a little dog whistly though, because in the case of both the movie and the church, you're both talking to a particular group of people who, when you say go and vote, they're going to go vote for your guy.
Yes and no, though. I don't think that's, I think though that's like that's unfair criticism. Like, what should they do then? Like, just not talk about it? Like, I think it's better for churches and stuff to be like, go vote. That's like the best. I think that's like the best they could do.
I feel like in terms of this movie, I don't think that them telling people to vote is like a big thing to really talk about one way or the other, because it's just kind of tacked on the end. And I think that's kind of what I was trying to get at, is that this movie doesn't strike me while I'm watching it as any sort of real political statement. Like, it's basically the same thing where he's going through rural America and finding like, rural Americans that seem so weird and backwards and messed up to people who live in big cities.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh my gosh, what? They're just like going along with them because it's like maybe they're just like polite or they don't understand or whatever for any of these reasons. Yeah. And for sure, there's some like obvious. I'm not saying any of them weren't real racists or whatever, but like, I think it's just that there's definitely an exploitative angle here, and I just wonder what the point is, particularly given that I know Sacha Baron Cohen has these goals, So it's like, what
the point is?
It's a funny movie.
That's one of the point. It's funny, and defamiliarization is the other. Just expose how absurd all this stuff is. I think there's only two shots or two jokes really that aimed at the left. They were at the beginning, and I laughed my ass off at both. One was saying like, since my first movie, the U.S. has been taken over by like an evil tyrant, and it's Obama. And then he's like, he inspired black leaders around the world, and it shows Justin Trudeau in blackface. We made it in.
Yeah, that was great.
That was hilarious.
I was like, oh my gosh, it's Justin
laughed
Trudeau.
So hard.
Yay!
It's worth laughing at because it's very embarrassing.
People know about Canada.
Canada made it in, baby.
Yeah.
We got to wrap it up, boys.
We do.
I don't want to wrap it up. I want to talk about Borat forever.
What, really?
No.
I like this movie. It's sweet. I hope there's not another one ever, but it's
pretty good.
Maybe in like 10 years.
What did you guys give it again?
7.9.
7.9. You gave it a what?
I said 8.5.
That's wild.
To me, this is as good as...
Too high or what?
Yeah, too high.
No,
I gave it a 7.
You gave it a solid 7. 7.9 is the highest 7 you can give. Solid 7.
Is that how you think about it?
David just liked it a little more than you, and I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
And I imagine this. I said it was one of the best sequels ever. I still didn't give it above a 9.
I feel like watching this movie, it's almost like hard for me to think about it as a movie.
Watch it twice. That's what I did.
All right.
I think it's hard to remove comedy from when people joke about the comedy for too long. Like shit like Austin Powers is hard to get into because like everyone was like, yeah, baby, yeah, and all that
Yeah,
shit. And like
yeah.
all those jokes that were kind of funny when they first happen are just not funny. And like I think they do a good job in this movie not doing too much of it. Like he doesn't go like, my wife, very nice, like very often.
Not
They're
really.
smart on it. They do it like one time.
And there's there's non-political jokes, apolitical jokes that are awesome. Like when they're dress shop and he's like, "Where's the dress that says
No means yes."
No means yes." And they both lose it laughing. Like the lady loses it laughing. Oh, it was great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She starts laughing and then he's like, ah.
He they're both slapping their knees, laughing.
That whole
It was
sequence,
great.
even like when he goes to the plastic surgeon and she's like, would you have sex with me? And he's
Yo.
like, yeah, I'd have sex with you if your dad wasn't here.
Yo,
That's messed
I
up.
had questions about that guy.
Yeah.
What's up with that dude?
It might be the kind of thing where it's like they went to 10 plastic surgeons and he's just the one that gave them the line
Just
they
like the
wanted.
weirdest plastic surgeon ever.
And then the secretary up front was just like, no, the perverts have to be doctors or nurses. That was just lined up perfectly. What are we doing next? I learned, guys, that we might have to wait for our Lord of the Rings coverage that we promised because the 4K trilogy is coming out December 1st. And I just think we should
Scott
wait for
Pilgrim
that.
is getting its 4K release sometime soon.
we haven't done
do
Scott
that
Pilgrim
soon.
yet.
We'll have to do that because it's getting, it's 4K remaster. I don't know when that is though. I think it's COVID delayed.
I don't know exactly what we're doing next week, but we're going to find something good for
We're
you
gonna
guys.
let you know.
Do you guys
gonna
see
love
that
it.
James Bond is trying to get onto streaming services? Do you know how much money they're trying to sell
That
that
guy-
don't let
goddamn
him.
movie? They're
James-
trying to sell that movie for.
James Bond can do whatever the hell he wants.
They're trying to sell it for $600 million fucking dollars.
God bless him.
600 million pounds.
I
Pounds.
can't lift that.
I don't care.
All right, hit us up. Hit us up
should.
on Twitter at Carpool Critics with your suggestions of what we should cover next. You can also email us at our new email address, hello
Hello?
at carpoolcritics.ca, Canada. And also, leave us some reviews because we like your reviews. You're really nice people. Love you so much.
I like all of you.
Bye-bye.
See you later.
Cinque.